So summer is quickly approaching, but a series of recent shark attacks might make you think, carefully about diving into the water. We want to warn viewers, the video that you're about to see, might be a little difficult to watch. It's in Florida, a 13-year-old girl. She had to fight off a shark as it bit into her stomach while she was swimming in the ocean. She says that she survived the attack by hitting the shark in the face. It's always... Right. I don't know.
That's
do you go for the nose?
Yeah, you go for the nose. Their noses are very, very sensitive.
Oh.
That's where we can get into it when we start the discussion,
right.
But their noses are very sensitive. That's how they actually use electrical impulses to navigate through the ocean.
Very interesting. So they probably get a little disoriented. Just much like myself,
That's
should
right.
I ever be bopped in the nose. In Hawaii, a shark tried to attack a man. He was kayaking off the coast. He was not harmed at all. He said he thought it was a turtle, maybe. So here to discuss is Jeff Corwin. He's an American biologist and wildlife conservationist. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us. So, listen, I know what we do for a living.
Yes.
Sometimes in the news, we get a little overzealous about sharks. So can you just put this in perspective for us? Are we seeing an increase in shark attacks?
Well, good morning, Anne-Marie. And I mean, I was listening to Vlad. He sounds like a marine biologist over there talking about the nose of sharks. So
that day I was a marine biologist, Jeff.
Well, it's a great question. And the truth is, when you're in the water, if you're in a healthy marine ecosystem, I actually live in a little island off of not far from Cape Cod. If you're in a healthy marine environment, you're often never more than 100 yards from a shark. We're often interacting with these species and we don't even know about it. But it's to really recognize those cues, recognize those unwanted opportunities of getting in the wrong situation that we need to be aware of. So it's, for example, avoiding the water at dawn and dusk where there can be confusion. Most of the time, bites are mistaken identity bites. That young woman swimmer who was in Florida where she was bit by that shark, looking at those wounds, I can tell you she was very lucky because she did what she needed to do, fight off the shark, as our expert Vlad said, pop it in the nose where all those sensory perceptions are. But the other thing is, I can tell that was a very small shark, probably doing a test bite. We're also entering the spawning season. We're in places like Florida. A lot of our sharks are returning to pup to bring that next generation in. But that when we have shark problems in New England, they're often very different than shark challenges you would get in a place like Florida.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, here in New England, we're seeing an increase in sharks, specifically one type of shark, probably the most infamous or famous, certainly one of my favorites, the white sharks or great white sharks, because we're getting an explosion in shark prey. We have a bumper crop of gray seals and harbor seals, which are the ideal prey sources of food that these sharks like to attack and eat. In Florida, we're getting those spawning grounds in places like the Gulf of Mexico and along the Atlantic coast. A lot of sharks like blacktip reef sharks, bonnet heads, nurse sharks, bull sharks come in to spawn. We also get a lot of competition. People are fishing in shark waters to catch jacks and snappers and then find themselves losing their fish because the sharks there are as well feeding.
So, Jeff, what's interesting is the kayaker, the video that we showed of that shark sort of jumping onto his kayak, said he initially thought what was coming towards him was a turtle. What I find interesting about that is oftentimes, as you know, it's sharks that mistake, as you just pointed out, humans for perhaps their prey or something that they normally would consume. And, we keep asking, well, what are the things that people should do to avoid these types of attacks? You just mentioned one of them, right? If you know that there are large schools of fish in an area or seals, or if it's dusk or dawn or the water is murky, there are a couple of things because sharks don't have great eyesight.
Yeah, and there you go. I mean, I'm just in awe of your marine biological information.
I'm kind of a
This is
shark
just
nerd,
incredible.
Jeff. I kind of have a.
I know.
I'm a shark nerd.
It's hard not to be amazed by sharks.
Yeah.
And certainly, my rule of thought when I scuba dive and every day in the summers where I dive for lobsters and I spearfish in Massachusetts. And my motto is, I can't outswim that shark. But if I can outswim someone like Vlad, then I'm going to make it, right? I'm only joking.
You don't have to. All you got to do is be faster than the other people you're swimming with.
Just a little faster than Vlad. But the truth is, that was a great example that you just brought up. We saw that gentleman out on the coast of Hawaii, and that was probably the most infamous of Pacific sharks. That is the tiger shark, a very highly predatory shark. That is a great example of mistaken identity. That was like a 12-foot long plus shark. It was as big as his kayak. It could have very easily dispatched that gentleman who was fishing, but it didn't. He said that he observed earlier that day an injured seal. So it was likely that shark had hit that monk seal, was hanging around, lots of blood in the water, made that mistaken identity. And that's one of those things that can happen. Keep in mind, the bigger the mouth, the bigger the test bite, and the more treacherous the injury can be. If you were bitten by that big tiger shark, you would be in a world. That was my New England tiger shark. If you're bitten by that tiger shark, you would be in a world of hurt versus something smaller, like a sand shark or something like that.
Jeff, before we go, we got like 20 seconds, but just to give a shout out to sharks, because they are, you said something very that I love, which is that they are one of the most fascinating creatures in the ocean. I mean, they've been evolved much the same way that they are today 100 million years ago. That's how perfect of nature's creation they are.
I mean, they're incredible creatures. And what I love about seeing sharks, I wouldn't want to be on the inside of a shark, but what I love about knowing about sharks where I live is that they are signs of a vibrant, resilient ecosystem. In places in the world, marine environments where we see collapse, often the first thing we see is a disappearance of their apex predator, which are sharks. So we need sharks. They're time tested. As you said, they've been on our planet for 100 million years. It tells us something's awry when we lose our sharks.
Love it. Jeff Corwin, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.